Another week, another race. Welcome everyone to the third race of the season for the GoRacing Sim League at Circuit of Navarra Speed Circuit. I'm Skippy McThrottle, and joining me once again in the booth today is my friend and colleague Billy Ray Burnout. Billy Ray, can you tell us a little about the track?
You're darn tootin' I can. The Circuito de Navarra is a motorsport racetrack located in Los Arcos, Spain. The track is FIA Grade 2, meaning it can host many high-level racing series, but not Formula One. Opened in 2010, it features a 2.445-mile layout with 15 turns and a mix of fast and technical sections. It is known for its long straights, elevation changes, and challenging corners, making it a popular venue for both car and motorcycle racing. This track will challenge every driver in the GoRacing Sim League today.
Are there any key areas on the track we should be watching today?
Does a frog bump its butt when it hops? Absolutely. Yes, it does. This track has several challenging turns. Turns 1, 2, and 3 almost act like one single long turn, and this might be the most difficult part of the track. You enter turns 1 and 2 at a high rate of speed, but then you have to slow down quickly to make the tight third turn. Turn 5 is also tricky. It's like juggling chainsaws on a trampoline. It is a deceptively high-speed turn that is easy to lose the rear of the car at the apex of the turn. Turn 9 is not that complicated, but the drivers will be carrying a lot of speed from the long straightaway, and it is easy to overdrive this turn. And finally, turn 15. This is a very important turn as it leads into the longest straightaway on the track. Nailing this turn perfectly each lap is a necessity.
Thanks, Billy Ray. Before we go to the start of the race, let's look at qualifying. Just like last week, Sam Buck was the fastest driver during qualifying. He turned 35 total laps in qualifying with a fastest lap of 1 minute 39.056 seconds.
Yep, Sam's a threat to win the pole almost every week.
All right, the cars are lined up and the pace car is rolling. Do you have any predictions, Billy Ray?
I predict that I will be hooking up with your wife behind the stands after the race.
I meant about the race, you dumbass.
Oh, my bad. One driver I am going to be watching this week is Chris Payne. He was the driver that voted for this track, so I suspect he is pretty good at it. Plus, he put down some good times during practice yesterday.
Agreed. I am also going to be keeping an eye on Mikey Fredrickson. Only 3 drivers had qualifying laps in the 139s, and he was one of them. The pace car is in, and the drivers are rounding turn 15, getting ready to take the green flag.
Let's keep an eye on this start. Hopefully this will be a clean start with no major issues in the first few turns. Last week the fastest cars took each other out in turn 1. We don't want that to happen again.
Green flag, and here we go. Looking good so far into one. Let's see if everyone can slow down safely and navigate turn 3 without incident.
The drivers have to slow down so much to make it through this tight turn. The further back in the pack, the more you have to slow down. Oh, it looks like someone checked up hard. I think there was some bumping and banging in the back of the field.
It does look like everyone made it out of the first 3 turns fairly cleanly. Let's look at the contact that happened in the back.
It looks like it started with Lane Allen when he had to check up, and then it dominoed back in the pack.
Yeah, and then Ken Schultz has to check up and taps John Enriquez slightly. Then Avelio drives it in hard and hits Ken hard in the rear.
That was a fudge packer for sure. Let's watch from inside Avelio's car. Man, that was a hard hit.
Yeah, both cars have to have some damage. Continuing with the first lap, it looks like everyone is safely navigating turns 5, 6, and 7.
It looks like the field has already formed into a single line with only a few cars racing side by side. This is not surprising as this track has so many tight turns. It basically forces them into a single file line.
As you can see, turn 9 is at the end of this long straightaway. So easy to overdrive this one. Lewis Lockshine got a great start and got the lead going into turn 1, but Sam Buck is already putting pressure on him here in turns 10 and 11.
Sam and Lewis are both extremely fast, and I suspect they will be battling each other hard all race.
Sam joined the league last season and had a great season going, but ended up getting sidelined by an injury and missed the last several races of the season.
Yeah, he and Lewis had a rivalry brewing last season before Sam's injury. I really look forward to watching these two race each other all season long. That was a fairly clean first lap. I did not see anyone driving into the turns like a superhero. Speaking of superheroes, who is your favorite X-Man?
I would have to say Caitlyn Jenner.
Ask a stupid question.
Lap 2 and Glenn McTavish and Derek Wynn are racing hard for 19th.
Derek was an original member of the league but missed most of last season. It's good to have him back.
Oh, and they collide in turn 15.
And it looks like John Enriquez gets some damage too.
It looks like Glenn was arcing the turn and Derek drove in tight. Maybe he was expecting Glenn to stay a little higher.
I was wrong. I think John was able to avoid contact, but look at the great job Avelio does avoiding the two spinning cars.
It looks like Glenn's bad luck continues on lap 3 as he gets loose in turn 2.
Easy to do in that turn, but luckily he was able to keep going. Looks like Tyler Hamlin gives Brandon Harrison a little love tap entering turn 3 on lap 8.
Just a tap, all good. And we have an incident on lap 10. Ed Adams gets a little loose on the exit of turn 3 and then he gets loose again in turn 4 and hits the wall hard. Did he get help?
It does look like Brandon Harrison tapped him in 4, but Ed was already a little sideways in the turn. The tap from Brandon did help him around though. They were racing for 6th position at that point. Ed's hands really tell the story. Look at him. He was really sawing the wheel in 4 before he got hit.
Looks like Wyatt Franklin had a minor issue too on lap 10 in turn 15, but he was able to keep going. Oh, and Glenn McTavish has another issue, this time on lap 16 in turns 2 and 3.
Yep, that high-speed set of turns is tricky. He gets sideways in 2, but saves it without hitting anything. But then it went downhill faster than a greased pig at a rodeo. When he got back on the gas, he spins again and has to drive through the grass. On lap 16, Kevin Banks has an issue. He first gets sideways in turn 11, but saves it. Then he spins out in 12.
It sucks for him, but look how he patiently waits for the cars to pass before rejoining the track.
Yep, good job.
Lap 17 and pro driver Kerry Cantera has an issue in turn 3. It looks like he got loose on throttle and then had to drive through the grass.
That area of grass has been driven on so much it's used up like a phone battery after an all-day TikTok binge. Oh, and there is a big wreck behind Kerry in turn 4.
It looks like Daniel Scheffer and Frank Aper got together.
It looks like Frank did not get a good exit out of 3, and this caused him to be a little slow in turn 4, and Daniel got into the back of him. I don't think Kerry's incident had anything to do with this one.
To make things worse, these two got together again on lap 25.
Yeah, and this one was much worse. Frank got loose in turns 4 and 5. He was sliding sideways just as Daniel rounded the corner. Daniel tries to go to his inside, but Frank slides into him while he is trying to save the car. That was an extremely hard hit for Daniel.
On lap 31, Chris Payne is chasing Tyler Hamlin down for 6th place, and Chris taps Tyler going into turn 9. The tap was nothing, but apparently it gave Tyler an incident point and sent him over the incident limit, and he had to serve a drive-through penalty.
And unfortunately for Tyler, his issues were not over. He exits the pits at the same time Kevin Rupert is driving by. These two have a really good battle for several turns. Tyler ultimately gets in front of Kevin. However, Kevin taps Tyler in the rear in turn 9, and Tyler apparently said, "Screw this crap." He pulled over and called it a race.
Yeah, I really don't understand that. The race was almost over. Why quit? And making up for his bad race last week, Sam Buck gets his first pro victory of the year in pretty dominant fashion. He sat on the pole and led 28 laps of the race.
And congratulations to Chris Payne for getting his first amateur win of the season. He finished 7th overall and gained 3 total positions from where he started. Let's take a quick look at the final results. Wow, the top 4, Sam, Lewis, Mikey, and Mike Watts, finished in the same order they started. Logan Davis had a good run, finishing with the top 5. Matt Cushion gained 1 spot to finish 6th. Chris Payne 7th. John Enriquez with a solid finish in 8th, improving 9 spots from where he started. Kevin Rupert gets 9th, and Lane Allen rounds out the top 10.
Looking at the season standings, we see that Lewis Lockshine is currently leading, with Mike Watts and Matt Cushion rounding out the top 3 in the Pro Series. In the Amateur Series, Kevin Rupert is leading, with Chris Payne and Wyatt Franklin close behind in 2nd and 3rd. Next week, the GoRacing Sim League will be taking on the Mountain at Bathurst. Thanks again for watching our recap. I am Skippy McThrottle.
And I am Billy Ray Burnout, or as Skippy calls me, Daddy. Have a great week, everyone, and see you next week.
I don't have to put up with this shit.
Oh, yes, you do. It's in the contract.